2025 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bonnick.
Here.
Ms. Bonnick is present. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Chairwoman Hugh Smith.
Here.
Chairwoman Hugh Smith is present. Mr. Mafucci. Mr. Mafucci is present. Ms. McIntyre. Ms. McIntyre is present. Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Morris is present. Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair is present.
Thank you. Just a little something different. I want to add a moment of reflection. So I'd just like to take a moment to reflect on the tragedy which occurred in Minnesota the weekend of June 14th. In the days since the brutal political assassination, I felt a sense of mourning for Melissa Hortman and those who were close to her, but also a deepening and resolve to be steadfast in the values she so passionately upheld. Melissa Hortman was more than a state lawmaker. She was a force of vision and determination, a leader who helped lift Minnesota to the forefront of the national fight against climate change. Under her guidance, Minnesota passed one of the most ambitious climate agendas in the country, setting bold standards for clean electricity and green technology investment, while also centering environmental justice for all communities. She gave voice to the future, one rooted in science, equity, and sustainability. As public servants, we're called to honor her legacy, but also to confront the means of her death. Representative Hortman was assassinated in her home, a horrifying act of political violence, which tears at the heart of our democracy. Violence has no place in politics. It does not belong in our homes, in our discourse, or in our disagreements. We must reject it without exception. Disagreement is healthy. Debate is necessary. Our democracy depends not on unanimity, but on the unity of purpose, the shared understanding that we can argue fiercely and yet still respect the dignity and humanity of those with whom we disagree. Melissa Hortman stood for courage, for climate justice, and for democratic ideals. Let this tragedy lead us to recommit to the work of building a just and livable future, and to doing so without fear. Let us protect the people that we serve and defend the principles which bind us together. Thank you. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing no one, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. You have the May 19th, 2025 minutes of the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
25-0200. Authorize a contract with LaBarton and Lagucci DPC for professional design services for the Northeast Quadrant Gloria Drive Landfill Improvements Project.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Bonnick, seconded by Legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion?
You have a,
Legislator,
Why don't you ask your question?
yes, I have a couple of
Legislator
questions,
Bonnick.
Madam Chair, to the admin. How will this project impact residents and the surrounding ecosystem during and after construction? And I have a couple of follow-up questions after that as well. So could you just answer this first one? How will this project impact residents and surrounding ecosystems during and after construction?
Through the chair, this will improve the conditions there. This is an older landfill that only operated for 4 years. It was done prior to current regulations related to how landfills effectively should operate. So when we do this, we'll be looking at removing the current cap, replacing it with a new cap that meets those regulations, Part 360 through the New York State DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation. And we'll also look at various options for leachate management, which is water filtration that goes into the ground and then picks up constituents or chemicals as part of it. So we have several options that the design consultant will consider, including leachate management, leachate removal, or there's the potential for it around the perimeter to be able to be dealt with. But in each instance, what we will have is a much more ecologically friendly and less concern than we would normally otherwise have, which we have none right now. We monitor it voluntarily as a matter of being a good neighbor and a good steward.
Okay, a follow-up question again, Madam Chair, to the administration. Will the assessment be made available to this body once it's completed?
Absolutely. Master plan was completed for the landfill to look at what the various options that could be considered was. So as this moves forward, this current action that we're requesting from this honorable body would be to move forward with the state environmental quality review component of it. So when that's complete, that will be a public document. It will also include public engagement.
Okay, and one final question, Madam Chair. What is the projected timeline for this design phase and the subsequent construction?
Sure. So through the chair, some of that will still be dependent on the design that's chosen, as well as any environmental factors as we get into it and start finding those. I will just point back to the fact that we have to remove an existing cap. And when that comes off, we'll have a better idea. But I think in general, we've been looking at this being, roughly something that would be done in 2027 when all is said and done and complete. So we would take the rest of this year in 2026 to do the design and then initiate at least the beginning of construction. Construction is kind of a loose term when you're talking about what we're doing here, but that would be something that would be complete in approximately 1.5 to 2 years overall.
Okay, thank you. Are you?
Thank you. Legislator Mafucci.
I'll defer to you.
Okay, Legislator Morris.
Welcome.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration, is the current cap like a topsoil and seed, or is it a membrane? What's the physical cap? Is it a type of physical barrier or something right now? And then what are the options? I know it's got to be designed, but what would be the options, I guess, that are being considered for the new one?
Sure. Through the chair, the current, we'll have to get back to you on specifics for the current cap. I don't want to misspeak. And again, that was what the master plan delved into and looked at. So there's some details we can get there. As you noted, though, we'll look to see, but whatever we do, it will be consistent with the New York State DEC Part 360 regulations. And a membrane is definitely something that has to be considered. So it won't just be still the grass, basically sod and seed, because that's no longer available. And we know what the limitations to it are. So we're looking for a very permanent solution. And I would just continue to say that the former landfill is located at 1735 Kennedy Road. The county also purchased 1775 Kennedy Road. We've been very transparent up front with the neighbors there who were raising concerns. And as we brought it to them, that's something that they asked about as well.
So no further questions.
Thank you. Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Through you to the administration, I have a kind of a technical question, so I'll go slow here. There's been some concerns expressed about the wording related to amending the cost of design services. And I want to make sure I kind of understand this. Now, when these projects are put together, there's a budget. And inside that budget, there's a contingency number to cover any cost overruns. So what these referrals are designed to do is give flexibility to the design services. So if those design services cost additional funds, those funds can be expended without the approval of the legislature, but that you cannot go over the actual full budgeted amount for the project. Is that pretty much correct? Or am I misunderstanding?
So through the chair, this is the initial amount that we want to do to get the seeker done. That will also help us through preliminary design, effectively 30% design. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, that is the initial amount. We do stick with our general rule of thumb. And again, that's all it is a rule of thumb that up to 15% could be needed for the full design. But that will be dependent on each individual project. And again, this is a capping that went on 45 years, a cap that was in place 45 years ago or longer. So we'll have to figure out when we get in there, but we anticipate continuing to be at that 15%, 10 to 15% for the full design, at which point then we can begin construction.
Thank you. I do have a follow-up question through the chair to the administration, because I do want the public to understand this, that when you build a budget, there's contingent dollars in that budget.
Mhm.
And the design number, it may cost more, but if you had to continually to come back to the legislature for approval of that, that could delay the project. So you do have the ability to spend more funding on design, but you cannot exceed the actual total cost of the project. If that became problematic, you'd have to come back to us to ask for more money.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you. That's what I really wanted to get out there because there's been some concerns around how it all works. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Legislator Mafucci. Follow-up question, though, is, as I understood your response, is there's no fixed legal limit as to, it's just that typically design is 10 to 15%. Is that correct?
To you, Madam Chair, that is correct.
Thank you. And a couple other questions regarding the cap that we seek to install. It's my understanding that a new cap will prevent water from infiltrating into the landfill, thereby reducing the amount of leachate that's coming out of that. Is that correct? Is that our intention?
To you, Madam Chair, that is correct.
Great. And this is such an exciting project. I'm glad that we're moving forward with it, and I think it'll be very beneficial for the community. My second question is related to methane. Will the new cap capture methane? Is that our intention?
We'll have to get back to you with the specifics of that, if that's been determined or what was in the master plan, what it said could be doing that.
You will get back to us in writing?
Correct, Madam Chair, absolutely.
Okay, and then along with that, it would be appreciated if we could have the anticipated greenhouse gas impact, presumably reduction if we are going to collect that methane, which I certainly hope we are.
To you, Madam Chair, we will look into what our options are available for the proper timing of being able to make those calculations. 30% design is preliminary. I would hope that at that point in time, that's when we can begin to look at that.
For certainly, and while I appreciate that, it seems if we can estimate the cost of construction, we can probably estimate the amount of greenhouse gases to be avoided. So look forward to your diligent response. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 25-0201, classification of action, designation of lead agency, and termination of significance pursuant to State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, for 8-year review of Monroe County Agricultural District Number 5 and District Number 6, and consolidation of Monroe County District Number 6 into District Number 5, forming the Monroe County Agricultural District Number 5.
Moved by Legislator Bonnet, seconded by Legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Sinclair.
Through the chair to the administration, what is the reasoning for merging District 6 into 5?
Through the chair, legislator, we'll get back to you on that. I note this is the seeker resolution and we'll have real estate here for the full resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0222. Authorize a contract with CP Ward, Inc. for general construction services for the Rochester Pure Waters District, Frank E. Van Laer Wastewater Treatment Plant Electrical System Improvements Project, as a matter of importance.
Moved by Legislator Bonnet, seconded by Legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator.
Through the chair, could you explain why this is a matter of importance?
Through the chair,
As you may know, there's a 45-day period which the contractor has to hold their pricing. And in order to meet the 45 days, we need to get as a matter of importance. Otherwise, we would miss that date, and we do not want to risk having the contractor withdraw their bids.
And through the chair, for clarification, the Department of Homeland will be funding 40% of the $6,029,563.30. And local funds from the county will match the 40% that Homeland pays.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. I yield.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Other matters. Are there other matters to come before the committee? So I have one other matter that I would like to begin adding to our agenda, which is implementation of the Climate Action Plan. And if you turn to the Climate Action Plan, which you might not have in front of you, but I'm happy to direct you to it on our website. Page 47, 55, 59, 63, and 69 all have action items for implementation of Climate Action Plan. And on page 63, it says cap the Gloria Drive inactive landfill. And that is listed as a high impact item. The time frame is short. And so if we're going to follow our Climate Action Plan, then I would expect that our replacement cap would collect the methane emissions. Otherwise, we're not following our plan. So that's just to point that out to you. And then to the administration, just want to ask you about a couple other items. Under buildings and facilities implementation actions, institute procedures and or training to encourage facility managers and municipal employees to improve heating, cooling, and lighting use efficiency. That was listed as high impact, low investment, and short time frame. Can you give us an update on the status of that work?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, what referral is this related to?
This is under other matters.
Okay, Madam Chair, customarily when we discuss other matters, we're made aware of them before the meeting. We're not in a position to just answer those questions now.
That's fine. Well, then you can certainly please expect that from now on, we will have other matters listed on our agenda as implementation of the Climate Action Plan that was adopted by this honorable body in 2022.
Madam Chair, I would also request that if there's something specific you'd like to talk about, that you let us know in advance so we're prepared to
Certainly.
talk about that.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Yes. This is phase one, facilities and operations. The phase one plan. The Gloria Drive landfill. Yes, is page 63. There being no other matters, the June 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will be held on Monday, July 21st.